Le Creuset celebrates 100 years of color in the kitchen. Hi there, everyone. It's Jeff, and this is Plain English for Monday, April 28th, 2025. It's great to have you with us. Thanks for making Plain English part of your English learning routine. If you're new here, welcome. Here's what we do. We tell stories in English at a nice, slow pace so you can understand every word. And then, when the episode is done, you get to go online, take a quiz, do some exercises, even talk about the topic with me and other listeners. And we think this is a fun way to get involved in English, get your brain thinking in your new language. Every episode has a story, and today's story is about Le Creuset cookware. How colorful is your kitchen? If you have Le Creuset, it's probably very colorful. The French cookware company is celebrating 100 years this year. Can you believe that? Those fiery red Dutch ovens have been around for a century. That's today's story. This is episode number 770. So if you'd like to follow along with the transcript, you can do that at plainenglish.com/770. The transcripts have built-in translations into French because Le Creuset, but also into 8 other languages for a total of 9. And that helps you learn some new vocabulary as you listen. You can find all that at plainenglish.com/770. Before we start today's story, I'd just like to remind you that the podcast is just one part of how we can help you upgrade your English skills. At plainenglish.com, you can make faster progress with active learning strategies. You can take quizzes, do activities, listen to the fast version of the audio, watch video workshops, practice what you learn, and even join a live call with JR and me. It's all about helping you build your skills to become a better, more confident English speaker. Sound good? Go to plainenglish.com to start your free 14-day trial today. Now, let's jump into today's story. You've probably seen it. Brightly colored cookware in fiery red and orange, maybe in a friend's kitchen, in a department store, or in your social media feed. That's Le Creuset, the French company celebrating 100 years of colorful cooking. A century ago, cookware was boring. It only came in shades of gray, brown, and black. But that changed in 1925 when 2 Belgian entrepreneurs founded Le Creuset. Their names were Octave Aubec and Claude van der Spikken. They worked with a French industrialist who specialized in cast iron. Cast iron is a very heavy metal that had long been used in cooking. It's a very flexible cooking material because it retains and distributes heat evenly. With a cast iron skillet, you can sear meat like steak, chicken, and pork chops. The sizzling hot cast iron makes the meat brown and crispy on the outside, but soft and juicy on the inside. With a cover, you can make cakes, pies, and bread in a skillet, and you can even fry eggs, saute vegetables, and bake pizza. There were a few problems with the cast iron cookware available in the early 20th century. First, it was only available in black, and it was hard to clean. Cast iron also developed rust easily, especially if it was not seasoned and maintained. The physical designs were not exactly user-friendly. It was hard to pick up and manage the hot metal. The Belgian entrepreneur's idea was to coat the cast iron with a colorful enamel. An enamel is a smooth glass-like coating that is fused to the metal. What was so special about the enamel coating? Well, it did a few important things. On the outside, it made a dark, heavy cast iron pan look good. The enamel on the exterior could be any color. It didn't have to be black. The original color of Le Creuset cookware is still the company's famous red-orange hue. The other advantage to the enamel, it made the cookware easier to clean and maintain. A thin layer of enamel on the cooking surface protected the cast iron and made it easier to clean after the meal. The enamel was also rust-proof, so a heavy cast iron pan could last much longer. Design mattered to the founders too. They committed to making the pieces easier to handle, with flexible handles and tops that made cooking and serving easier. They called their company Le Creuset, which means the crucible in French. They produced the original pieces in a foundry in the northeast of France. Soon, discerning French cooks were hooked. Le Creuset's original product was a Dutch oven. A Dutch oven is a large cast iron pot with a cover. It's used for slow cooking. It's great for stews, soups, and other one-pot meals. The advantage of a Dutch oven is that heat circulates evenly inside. You can put a Dutch oven over a fire or in a hearth. You can also put hot coals on the lids of a Dutch oven to even out the heat. Other early products included a round, deep pot used for stovetop cooking, casserole dishes, saucepans, and frying pans. They all came in Le Creuset's signature color, volcanique, a fiery blend of red and orange with a gradient effect that fades from the top to the bottom. After just a few years, Le Creuset cookware had become so popular in France that the company looked to expand. They started exporting to Belgium and the United Kingdom. And then, in the 1950s, they entered the American market. The timing turned out to be perfect. Home cooking was on the rise thanks to affordable home appliances. The mid-20th century ideal of a family living in a single house with a mom at home cooking, this was perfect for Le Creuset. At the same time, Americans were falling in love with French cooking. Slow-cooked meats, rich sauces, stews, and baked goods. This was considered a refined, sophisticated way to cook, and Le Creuset gave American cooks a durable and beautiful way to cook sophisticated French recipes. Pretty soon, Le Creuset pieces weren't just for cooking. They were also part of a kitchen's decor. And a funny thing happened. People bought more Le Creuset pieces than they really needed, just to mix and match the colors. The company leaned into the trend, producing pieces in bright colors, neutral colors, and pastels, allowing customers to mix and match and create their own colorful kitchens. They expanded into salt and pepper shakers, utensils, storage jars, fondue pots, tea kettles, and more. For many couples, having Le Creuset cookware became something of a rite of passage. If you had Le Creuset in your kitchen, you were finally a grown-up adult. You could make a dish from a Julia Child cookbook just the way the famous French chef did herself. Many couples put the fiery pots and skillets on their wedding registries. There was even more good luck for the company. In the 1960s, large chain stores were starting to spread across the United States, and two of these chains used Le Creuset cookware as a major driver of sales. They were Williams-Sonoma and Pottery Barn. Both those chains still sell Le Creuset cookware today, 60 years later. In the mid-1980s, an outside investor bought out the company's founders. Le Creuset remains in private hands, so sales, profits, and other business metrics are not public. But the United States is its biggest market, followed by Japan and Europe. Le Creuset is as relevant now, 100 years after its founding, as it has ever been. These days, Le Creuset has a loyal following online. Their Instagram is filled with colorful pots, vintage ads, and fans showing off their creations. They drop limited edition pieces that sell out instantly and then pop up on eBay for a hefty premium. They've even done special versions: Star Wars, Harry Potter, Hello Kitty. There's white cookware in Meghan Markle's new Netflix show. And yes, there are superfans. Some even dedicate entire rooms to display their collections. But this is the exception. Most people don't buy Le Creuset on a whim. Let's be honest, they are expensive. People buy the pieces for their flexibility and durability. It's not uncommon to hear stories about couples who have had the same Le Creuset pieces in their kitchens for 50 or 60 years. Some people even inherit Le Creuset from parents who have passed away. Le Creuset still makes its signature cast iron pans in the original foundry in France, though most of its pieces are made in Portugal, Thailand, and China. I got a few Le Creuset pieces as gifts from my parents. One was not a Dutch oven exactly, but it was like a deep saucepan with a cover that doubled as a small frying pan. I also got some baking dishes, which I used a lot, but I never had a cast iron skillet or a Dutch oven. I'm not a sophisticated enough cook to make good use of them. I imagine some future version of myself searing lamb chops on a cast iron skillet or baking an apple pie in a Dutch oven, but that version of myself is far, far in the future. All joking aside, I have cooked with a Dutch oven, but it was camping. As a kid on camping trips, we would cook in a Dutch oven, and it was great. You could build a fire and literally just put the Dutch oven in the fire and put hot coals on top. And whatever was inside would be delicious when it was done. It took a while, but it would be delicious. Oh, I just noticed another French word in English, décor, with an accent over the E. It means the style of decorations. I used it in this episode. I should have included that in episode 750. You might remember that one. It was all about French words in English. By the way, in the Dig Deeper section of the website, I put a link to a video tour of the factory where they make Le Creuset. So if you want to see where and how these famous pieces of cookware are made, go to plainenglish.com/770 and click the Dig Deeper tab. All right, that's all for this episode, number 770. That wraps up our theme for the month of April, which was at home. Remember, we talked about co-living in number 763, and then we had a fun episode about whether or not you should use a top sheet. That was 765. And this was 770, so you can find the transcript, translations, exercises, and more at plainenglish.com/770. We'll be back on Thursday with a new topic. See you then. You've reached the end of the audio version of today's episode, but the fun doesn't have to stop here. If you like our approach, then I really think you'd like the exercises that come with each episode at plainenglish.com. Here's what you'll find alongside each story. You'll find interactive activities that help you improve your listening, speaking, grammar, and vocabulary. The activities give you immediate feedback to help you improve. There's even a chance to record your own voice and compare your pronunciation to mine. That's a great way to improve your pronunciation and speaking. And it's just one of the many interactive exercises we include with every lesson. So don't just listen to Plain English, get involved. Be an active learner at plainenglish.com. Start your free 14-day trial today at plainenglish.com.